You check the pressure on the shock and notice that it has dropped about 15%. You pump it back up and decide to check it more often. The next time, it has again dropped 15%. You decide to recheck immediately after pumping. Already the pressure has dropped 15%. You determine that the pressure must be lost when detaching the pump. To get to the intended pressure, you then pump the shock 15% over the intended pressure and go to web forums explaining how you get to the intended pressure. But that's where you went wrong. What air pressure is a volume of air squeezed into a smaller space. Hence, the pressure will drop if the air volume increases. Let's look at the shock pump. It has a hose that's usually about 18 centimeters long and has an inner diameter of 4 millimeters. That's 2.26 cubic centimeters of air volume. The main chamber volume of the V11 shock is about 34.6 cubic centimeters. How about that? The hose is 15.3% of the shock's air volume. Sound familiar? It's the exact same amount of pressure you lost when attaching the pump, since the same amount of air is now spread to a 15% larger space. You can test all this very easily. After you have pumped up the shock, close the valve and depressurize the pump, but don't detach the hose. Instead, open up the valve again. You will see the exact same amount of pressure drop. So detaching the pump doesn't lose any air. Attaching does. By the way, always depressurize the pump before unscrewing the valve connector. The pressure in the hose makes the connector difficult to unscrew and wears out the soft metal threads, both in the pump as well as the valve stem, awfully fast. Shocks on other wheels have different air volumes and pump hoses have different lengths and inner diameters, so the amount of pressure you lose when attaching the pump can be anything from 5 to 20%. The pump used in the video has a very short hose, so I only lost about 7%. Either way, don't overpump your shocks. The pressure in them is just fine the way you set them, as long as you use the two-stage valve connector correctly. And of course that the pump works correctly in the first place. Thanks for watching.